Today I'll be coding, I'm not exactly sure what. You see, some 4 years ago I started doing a lot of CSS 3D shapes. So the 3D part was just pure CSS. And back then I was really proud of them. I did a lot of them and I was really proud of the techniques I was using, but now looking at them through my 2017 eyes, they seem so dated and can't I do better now? So the logical thing would be to just go back from the start and just redo them all, from the simplest to the most complex. But the thing is, I got to do some very complex stuff back then. And now to just go back and do something like a simple rotating triangular pyramid, something like this, just seems so unchallenging and so underwhelming. So maybe I could add a twist, like fold a net, but I've already done nets like this one. As you can see, here I have this triangular net, and it actually looks a lot better if I just let it auto-rotate, and you can see. Okay, so we'll try a different kind of net. This one is simpler if we just nest stuff, which is really stupid. And because nesting one 2D face inside another 2D face is stupid. And what's even stupider is writing them like this without using a recursive mixin. But the thing is, if I use a mixin, and here I have a mixin version and that stupid no-mixin version, and I look at the compiled HTML, it's the same HTML structure, except with the mixin, I have white space here in the innermost element. And having white space means that empty fails, and that innermost element isn't deep pink as I wanted it to be. So the thing is, I'm going to do it like this. So now let's put something on the screen so you can see stuff. We're going to have a dummy width and a dummy height. We're going to change these later, but for now, we're just going to set some values. And we're going to set a background. Current color will do. And then we're going to have content, which is nothing. And actually, I want this to have on this it on the pseudo elements. So on the before and on the after. And here it's not going to work unless I do something like display block or position absolute. So position absolute. Okay, and now it works again. Now let's crop a triangle out of this. And we're going to do this with a mixin, a regular polygon mixin, which takes the number of vertices for the polygon, the circumradius for the polygon, and an offset angle. And this by default is going to be minus 90 degrees because I want to start from 12 o'clock, not from 3 o'clock. And here I'm going to have a base angle, which is 360 degrees over n. And then I'm going to have a list of vertices, which is initially empty. And then I'm going to populate it within a loop. So for I from 0 to n, first I compute the current angle, which is I times the base angle, plus the offset angle. Then I compute the x-coordinate of the current vertex, which is going to be a calc value. So 50% because we compute everything relative to the midpoint. And I need to interpolate this part, the circumradius times cosine of the current angle. And I'm going to have something similar for the y-coordinate, except obviously this is going to be y, not x. And this is not going to be cosine, it's going to be sine. And finally, within this loop, we need to add these x and y coordinates to the previous version of the list, x and y. Okay, and now we need to set clip path polygon, and we use this list of vertices. Okay, now we can collapse this, and we take this and we include 3 and 50%. For now, it's going to be good enough. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is opacity 0.5. Next thing that we're going to do is take the after and set transform rotate Y half a turn. And this way the after is going to face towards the back. So we're also going to give it a background deep pink. Now for the main 3D element, we're going to have top 50%, left 50%, so that we put everything in the middle. Except this is not going to work without setting this position absolute on the div as well. And the thing is, since we want to have 3D transformed elements within 3D transformed elements, we need to set transform style, preserve 3D. And one more thing I wanted to do here, also, back face visibility hidden. Okay, and one more thing I want to do here is have some hover styles. So here I'm going to have a transform, rotate X, and this is going to take a custom property, hover angle, which is 0 by default. And here I change it, and I make this angle half a turn. So now, oh, yeah, exactly. Now, okay, one thing I'm missing, I'm going to put here transition, and now it should switch nicely. Okay, and that works. Now we're going to set some proper dimensions and stuff like that. So we're going to start from an edge length of 8 ems. We're going to have a number of vertices per face, which is 3. We're going to have a base angle for each face, for the edge of a face. And this one is going to be 360 degrees over the number of vertices. And then we're going to compute half this angle, which is 0.5 this angle. And now we're going to compute the in radius, the circumradius and the in radius, which is half the edge length over sinus of that half angle. And the in radius is going to be similar, except here we're going to have tangent. And we're also going to compute the diameter, which is twice the radius. And we're also going to compute the height of the triangle. And this one is going to be the sum of the radii. Okay, now knowing this, we can set these values, and we're going to set them to the diameter. And then we're going to set a margin to minus the circumradius. Okay, so that's in the middle right now. And now let's start setting some transforms on the actual folding faces. We're going to have a base transform, and this one is going to be translate Y minus the in radius. And we're going to set this to the transform. Okay, and the next thing that we're going to do is change the transform origin. Transform origin, and we want it in the middle of the bottom edge, of the bottom horizontal edge. So that's going to be calc 50% plus the in radius. And now that I've done this, I'm going to have a rotation. So rotate, and this one is going to be by half the central angle, base angle, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now that I've done this, I'm going to take this translation once more, and I'm going to chain it at the end. So this is it. And the next thing that I'm going to do is add a folding option. So here I'm going to have input fold, and it's going to be type checkbox. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is add that option here. So I'm going to have input checked and here I'm going to have rotate X, and here I'm going to have the rotation angle, which is 0 by default. So here I'm going to change this rotation angle. Actually, I'm going to make this is going to be the fold angle because it controls the folding, and I'm going to change this fold angle. And in order to do that, I need the diagonal angle, and I can get the diagonal angle from a right triangle. So and this is in radians and unitless, so I need to multiply with 180 degrees and divide by pi. So here I'm going to have, what the heck? I'm going to have minus 180 degrees. So this is my fold angle. This is 0 degrees by default. Okay. Something else is wrong. What else is wrong? Let's see it. That looks good. So the problem is somewhere here. Oh, right. Right. Okay. So now that I have this, you can see how it folds, but the last face overlaps the first. So I need to change this angle here just for the last one. So the last one is the one that doesn't contain any other face. So that's going to be empty. Oh, I hate it when it does this. And here I'm going to have a rotation angle. So our rotation angle is going to be minus. And here I'm going to use that rotation angle. And the thing is, I could do this with a switch and do something like this. Calc. Oh, what did I do? So here I could have calc, and I could have a switch S, which is 1 by default, and multiply it with that half angle. And here I would just change the switch, and I wouldn't have to write the angle again. But this thing only works in WebKit browsers, so we're not going to do it for now. Okay, so now it's a bit difficult to notice the individual triangles. So what we're going to do is decrease this circumradius by a bit. So make it something like this, for example. And now when I fold this thing, as you can see, it folds correctly. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do here is add a bit of perspective and layout and stuff like that. So I'm going to have my stuff here. Oh, come on. Shouldn't I be able to just tab? No. It doesn't want to do this. Come come on. I'm going to have a scene here, so section, scene, section. Okay, now that I have this, I'm going to set a layout on the body. So I'm going to have body, display, flex, flex direction, column. I'm going to have height. I'm also going to have margin 0. Here for the section, I'm going to have, first of all, flex 1, overflow hidden, position relative, and then I'm going to have perspective 35 ms, perspective origin. I want to see stuff a bit from above, so that's going to be 50% in the middle horizontally, and I'm going to have a bit of an offset vertically. So let's say L. This should work. And here I'm going to have font size 4 width height to the viewport, so that everything looks nicely. Okay. This should do it for now. So this doesn't work anymore because I've changed the structure. So here I'm going to have like this, and now it should work. Okay, it does. Now the next thing that I want to do is tweak the positioning and stuff like that. So here for the 3D shape, before this rotation, I'm going to have translation, translate 3D, and I'm going to have, first of all, I'm going to have an X offset, and this one is going to be to the left, because as you can see, this first triangle is in the middle here, but the other ones are to the right, and I want the whole assembly in the middle. So I'm going to have minus 0.75 L, that's 1.5 L over 2. And then I'm going to have 0 and 0 here. So now I have this in the middle. But the thing is, when I now fold it, it's not in the middle anymore. So I need to fix this. I need to fix that X and bring it to 0 here. So this is what folding does. Now the next thing I want to do is have a full rotation. So that's going to be done with a rotate Y. Rotate Y, and this one is going to be which is a 0 degrees initially, and here I'm going to change that rotation angle to 1 turn. Now the thing is, this messes up its children. So here what I need to do is take this rotation from here and set it here. Okay, now this solves that issue. Now I want a bit of incline, and the way I'm going to do this is by using calc here. So I'm going to have calc, and here I'm going to have a fold angle, and this is going to be my incline, which is 0 degrees at first, plus. And this fold angle, it's going to be pretty similar to this one here. Except this one is going to be minus 90 degrees. So as you can see stuff now. One more thing I wanted to do is shift this when it's folded, because this way it's in the plane of the screen right there, but when it's folded I don't want this one face to be to have the middle in the plane of the screen. I want the midpoint of the whole pyramid to be in the plane of the screen. So the way I'm going to do this is use Z here. So var Z, and this Z is going to be the in radius of the whole pyramid, and this one I compute from another right triangle, which is similar to the one from where I computed this one. So now that I have this, I'm going to set it here. So Z is going to be that in radius. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, circle radius there. Okay. So yeah, this looks nice. Now the next thing that I want to do is make those faces a bit more interesting and add some gradients to them. And I'm going to use conic gradients, and I'm going to use native conic gradients so that I can use CSS custom properties. And the thing is, this is only going to work in Chrome and only with this flag enabled. Using the polyfill, I can't use CSS custom properties inside. So here I'm going to have background image, conic gradient, and let's see what I have inside. I'm going to have, first of all, I'm going to use this palette here, this thing. Those colors look good. So I'm just going to take them and no, okay, now it worked. And I'm going to go from the end of the that color list, and I'm going to have, so my first color, C0, it's going to be the last one, so the third, and then I'm going to have first stop volume, and this one is going to be, look at it, if I unfold it, and as you can see, this edge here is at 150 degrees, and this one is 150 degrees plus 60 degrees. So that's what I'm going to have, 150 degrees here. And for the second set, I'm going to have something similar, except here it's going to be 1, obviously. I'm going to go to 2 here, and this one is going to be 150 plus 60. So that's 210. Next, I'm going to have background position, and this one I'm going to set it a bit later. First of all, background size. This one is going to be twice the edge length in both directions, and I need to set them for I need to set this for both, because by spec, if I don't set it for both, for gradients, this second one is going to be 100%. And as far as I know, only Firefox makes it 100%. The other browsers make it equal, but still, anyway, just set it correctly. The background position is going to be, it's going to be 50% horizontally, so centered in the middle. So at the top vertex there. Okay, so and then I'm going to have from the top, I'm going to go by -half the background size, which is -1 edge length. Okay, so this should do it. Okay, and it does it. Now, next thing that I need to do is tweak this for the other faces. So now I'm going to take the faces that are not the last one, the empty one. So that's going to be not empty after. How I hate this. And here I'm going to need to change the colors and the stops. So I'm going to have the first color is, and I go backwards as I said before. So this one is going to be 1 and 1. And if this other one is rotated, then I'm going to have from 270 degrees to 330 degrees. So that's going to be S0, 270 degrees, and S1, 330 degrees. Now this is going to do for the second. Now for the third one, I'm going to have, and the same selector from here. I don't know why. So here I'm going to have something a bit different because I need to replace the whole color list, because this one is going to be the bottom. So in order to replace the whole color list, what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to have color list, and I'm going to take this, bring it there. So redoing the whole color list means so I believe this should do it. And I also need to change the background position, of course. Background position 50%. So this should do it. Okay, it looks good. Okay. So if I fold it now, looks good. Okay, that's fine. And now for the last one, here I'm going to need to reset the steps. So I'm going to have after, and what I need is to go from 1 to 3. So C0 is index 1, and then I'm going to 3. So C1 is going to be the one at index 3. Okay, so let's see. Okay, now next thing we can do here is here set a different color. Something like this, and this is going to influence the color in the back, as you can see it. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I can do more in terms of prettifying, but this is already almost half an hour and not going to go to waste more time on just prettifying stuff, because I suck at that and it's going to take me a lot more than everything I've done so far. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time.